fine.
We are live. I'm just gonna do something super quick. And I know that it's not. And I know that I messed up the other thing. Where's the suitable thing?
Mm.
I can do announcements now. I'm cool in this thing. If I could find the announcements. There you go.
You are streaming your OBS to me, but I can see it.
You can't see it?
No, I can't. I couldn't.
Can you see it now?
Now I can.
Oh.
Yeah, I see. I see it now.
I'm gonna do something slightly better for you. Oh no, Sven's here. Yeah, Mirai had to cancel. He had a setting up this week was interesting. I had a few people cancel. I kind of didn't want to do it alone because I thought that the purpose of this is to bring you guys in. So Sven volunteered literally like
Have you
1 minute
read it?
ago to come hang out. I would agree that Sven smells it. I agree. May I last minute coming as a guy number 3? Yeah, you can. Pop up the skull. Just add him. Brett, apparently you're not my friend on Discord. Is he your friend, Sven?
Of course he is.
Why are you not my friend, Brett? Why don't you like me? Yeah, this is obviously gonna break Sven's camera though.
No, and you have to share.
Yeah, this absolutely broke the camera. I'll fix it while the rest of the people come in.
Oh yeah, we have 3 people. You have Brett. You need to
Yeah.
put Brett's cam on as well now.
Wait, hang on. So here, this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be so interesting to figure out. Hang on.
Absolute chaos. We love to see it.
I'm gonna put you guys here like this
This is
because
so
I'm too lazy to fix this at this point.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm too lazy to fix this. How are you doing, man?
Me? I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Nice. Very good, very good.
Yeah, it was all planned out. All planned out.
Yeah, it's a little like last minute, so I don't know really what to say, but I'm here.
Me neither. It's fine. You still
Yeah,
have
you'll
to
figure
share
it out.
your screen again, because we can't see shit now.
Yeah, I'm too lazy to fix you guys. I might here. I'm gonna
But
try.
no, that's fine. But you need to share your screen for us.
Oh, am I not sharing? Here, hang on. Here, I'm gonna share.
'cause
I'm
we
gonna share
changed
this. You guys don't need to see yourself on the stream. Oh, of course, this broke it again. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. I need to fix it.
You made it even worse, but yeah.
Yeah, this looks.
Now I have some
I'll fix
distance from this smelly man.
it. Yo, very small brother. Oh yeah, I know, right? I mean, this is literally everything about this
Yeah.
stream was like last minute, so literally everything about this stream was last minute, so um, it's all right. We'll make it work. Jesus, that's not what I was going for.
Behind the scenes setup. This is the worst.
Oh, it's the worst, but we'll fix it. See, Brett, see what you've cost.
Yeah, this is all my fault. I can just leave again, it's fine.
Nah, it's alright.
And then join 5 minutes later again.
Wait, hang on. Here. Let me put this in like studio mode so that it doesn't look that stupid at least. There we go. Um, yeah, I just need to fix Sven now. If I can at least fix Sven, that would do it. Welcome everybody. Thanks for hanging out while we literally just make a mess out of the stream.
Oh, now it's only pretty. Wait, what? Your background is black
I'm
now on
fixing
stream.
you. I'm fixing you. Hang on. I'm fixing it. Why did the background go black? It's so weird.
Yeah, and you can only see Brede and not me.
The fuck? I have no idea why the background would go black. Well, yeah, the Breda part I know. You I'm trying to fix. I have no idea why the background went black. I'll blame Breda for it though.
Yeah.
There it is. 200.
Just let you do your thing while I'm getting something to drink.
Wait, I fixed that. Now I have no idea what happened to the background.
What is the question?
Here, I fixed it. You guys are like very small still, but it's not still.
It's back, sort of.
Yeah, you guys can tell I'm not good at this shit. I'm very not good at this, but it's okay. It's okay.
This is so. This looks so funny.
Okay, we'll do it like this. Okay, well, I think that was plenty of entertainment of watching me being really bad at this thing. So, choice specs for that time. Well, thanks for joining, guys. I know this was very much so last minute. I'm gonna try to make you guys a little bigger too, but this was very much last minute. So thanks for joining and hanging out. Who's better at monotype random battles?
Let's not talk about that.
I can tell them about yesterday's one.
No.
But was it 8-0 to me?
I
That's
don't have
that. I
memories
don't
of
know.
that.
So
Alright, let's go on. Get on to it.
let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna talk about last week. We're gonna talk about the games, analyzing the meta a little bit of the stats. We're gonna talk about the top players in the league, and then we're gonna talk about predictions of week 6. So first thing we do is we talk about the previous week, about what the meta looked, anything that caught the attention, and then we jump to the next one. Real Booming, Urshifu, and Nihilego staying firm in the top 4. Araquanid, Gothitelle, Rose, Serena went down significantly. Zapdos came in for the first time, almost 11% usage with 100% win rate. P2 had the exact same usage as the previous week. And Heatran and Feeny also seem to be holding fairly steady. Last week was interesting. So Rillaboom hit 80%, which I don't believe anyone that isn't Incineroar I've seen hit before. Incineroar is actually number 3 in usage. Amoonguss dropped out of the top 15, went to 17. Elegi and Feeny switched. Stagataka made 2 of the top 10 pairs. And Nidoqueen made the list for the first time. Zapdos and Kartana that were on the list last week didn't make the list this week. And then Amoonguss completely dropped. And then it had a pretty low win rate, so not really sure what to make of all the chaos that you've seen in the past week. Not sure if you guys have any insight from what you've talked to your players.
I think the stacks are pretty interesting. We haven't seen it in like the entire week so far. But besides that, it's still pretty common if you look at the common pairs. I don't think anything has changed besides that.
Well, so a couple of things that caught my attention was definitely Nidoqueen making the list. I find difficult to justify Nidoqueen or Nidoking in a format where Lando's available. I think the argument is the coverage that it brings is different. Um, but I still find it hard to justify. I've tested it before and I just can never bring myself to use them. Um, but I don't know. It was a kind of interesting there. Not sure what you think, Brennan, the way that you're watching all of this evolve.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know much about the Nidos or how they're being played. Haven't really looked into them yet. But I was also noticing Nidoqueen being there. I was expecting Nidoking to get there first, if something, because Nidoking has also seen some play in this tournament.
Okay, very interesting. Um, the amount of Stagataka pairings really called my attention. Um, Spectrier being back up also called my attention. So couple of interesting trends coming in. B2 dropping a little bit. Ninetales I don't think was on the list last week. It was not on the list, and now it's the top 12. I think it brings a lot of utility. It doesn't hit that hard. The regular Ninetales at least has Sun, and it gives a little bit of extra damage. But the other one, I guess you have the option of Blizzard, Freeze Dry, obviously Aurora Veil, Icy Wind, Moonblast. So, I don't know. It doesn't hit as hard. It's still a good support one. Had a decent win rate. So, couple of interesting picks here. There were 3 ties this week's and 1 win, which was obviously Sven's team. I believe this is the first team to clinch playoffs, unless I'm mistaken. Is that accurate?
I do think actually both
We
us, Strikers and Heat are secure playoffs.
We
The top
should
3.
be alright.
You said what was that, brother? Didn't catch it.
Yeah, we should also be alright because there are 2 weeks left to be played, and the 7th is 6 points, and we are 17.
Okay.
Yeah,
so they
you're
need-
guaranteed.
They are only getting 10 points, and we are in 10 points. They're then on 16, so we're safe. Heat and Strikers.
Very cool. Yeah, and Hannah, I know it's for the Aurora Veil. I was just saying that it does have a lot of general good utility moves, and that it doesn't hit as hard as the other Ninetales. But just because it has screens, I think it's just way better than the other one. So it's an interesting pick. I never expected it to be so high in the list. So it just kind of called my attention there. But very cool. Seems like a couple of teams are starting to clinch playoffs. I would say there's probably 3 teams for looking cute and sitting there and doing absolutely nothing else. No, so I've used it with like Icy Wind, where like you'll set Aurora Veil and then you start spamming Icy Wind and then you set up stuff with it and basically just get a random KO. It's actually a little faster than the other Ninetales, so it's an interesting mod to use in a non-max format. I mean, it almost won Worlds. Sam Pendelis had it in 2017? And that Tailglow Circuitry team, and that team had a lot of setup. I can't remember the whole team, but Zelda's team had a Ninetales and even a second. So okay, very cool. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the games here. First tie, couple of very interesting teams. We actually invited past there. I believe past our score no. So we invited them to the program, and we just couldn't make the times work. But that's one of the players that's currently 4-0. it was basically like all of these matches were 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. There was 1-2-0 from Crawl Shots. There's that Nidoqueen Ninetales stack, and it's that pairing that we were watching before. The Urshifu, Rillaboom, and Stakataga seems like people are starting to use it a little bit more. So interesting set to look out for. Any match here that, or any specific team here that called your attention from either of you guys?
I have watched like most matches this week, except from the Cobras versus Araquanids, but I do see that when you look at Torvis' team, that like Zamazenta, Ho-Oh, Groudon is being used again. Like that team I've seen do quite well. Ho-Oh, I think this is the first time Ho-Oh has lost.
I was gonna say
So
the same
far.
thing. I think it's the first whole loss in the entire season.
And we have apparently double Whimsicott on Chris' team. I think that's an error.
That does look like an error. Or unless you just need double Tailwind. But you know, yeah, well, I'll get with Evan, just make sure that we correct that.
I think a lot of standard teams use. So here the only weird team is kind of from Ink, but besides that's pretty standard stuff.
Well,
Where,
for
where's
the
these teams? Oh, see it. Yeah, this is kind of an interesting team. They lost the week. I've tried to make that let a Thunder Asterion work in this format, and I just haven't been able to really get it going. But not sure. Interesting take. Well, what are you thinking?
yeah,
here,
this Sasha and Samacenta team is something we're starting to see more of. We played against that team last week, or the double thing. I think that might be the same player, but that was Terran, close to the same team, beating Henry from my team, Eats. But it's the same idea, double dogs plus Groudon, setting up coaching. I think it's right now.
Okay, very cool. This team the Cephals team was a very interesting take on Trick Room. Not sure what the last one on Chris's team was.
Groudon,
Yeah.
if you put Groudon, you have like the most standard team in the format.
Yeah.
Basically. So I mean, interesting take on Trick Room with Tailwind. So maybe it wasn't Trick Room. It was basically just like Fast Lunala
just-
and Magearna.
No, it doesn't have to be. I think it's just Tail Room. Like Lunala can set Trick Room for you with Magearna. I think it's gonna be like the Lunala's gonna be around like 120 speed stat. I think, because that way you work still pretty well under Trick Room, but also outside of Tailwind you outspeed like Shadow Rider.
Okay.
And then you can either have like a super bulky AV min speed ogre, or just like a life orb ogre and just go and Dynamax and kill shit.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Let's hop on the next one. Strikers versus the Torkoals. I mean, these guys have a couple of losses, a couple of ties. There are 6 teams that are going to make playoffs, so they can definitely still make playoffs. So I certainly wouldn't get discouraged in their shoes. This was kind of a slugfest. This were all 2-0. Every match went 2-0. A lot of, like, just at first glance, 2 teams that were the same, one that won, one that lost. Is this an Uxie? Never seen
No,
that.
that's Mesprit.
Is that Mesprit?
Mesprit.
Okay, I don't know if I've ever seen that used in a competitive. I've seen Asolf before. I don't even know what Mesprit does, to be honest.
I think it's like the balanced version, because Uxie is more like a poor man's Cresselia most of the time. So I guess Mesprit is like in the middle of Azelf and Uxie. But I don't know. I don't know anything about Mesprit. It's not something you see very often.
So you probably just, I don't know if it's able to one shot Amoonguss. I think it's all right. Maybe I guess just a Trick Room setter. But But I don't know what else it does. I haven't
Mesprit
seen it
took
used
most
at all.
of the chaos in the set. That's very
Ah.
interesting.
Oh,
I mean, that makes a bit of sense actually. If you
I
like,
mean, you
it
hit
does well against the
Naganadel
and Urshifu.
and Urshifu, right? I mean, tornadoes, you can hit it with anything. I'm pretty sure you could manage to like two-shot it with a Rillaboom. If you play it right, you could potentially even do that. So tornadoes is not very. It doesn't tank too much. So if you play it right, yeah, you can definitely do a bit of work, at least against that matchup specifically. Very interesting. Let's see what's another interesting matchup here. So Ardcar had, so this kind of reminds me, like it's this is gonna be a very odd analogy, but it kind of reminds me of like the Series 7 Venusaur teams that were running like Torkoal Venusaur P2. So I would say this is kind of like, I would say Series 13 take on that. Like Sard instead of Venusaur for the after turn damage, then having P2 and then still having the Ice Rider for balance. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting take on this one. Ho lost again, so those are two Ho's that lost this week. Where Ho was, I believe, undefeated for the first 4 weeks. Here below, I don't understand this team, to be honest. You have 3 restricteds that can't max.
I can tell you about that team. That's a team that has been topping ladder recently. The special thing about it is the Gastron is physical.
It's physical with bulk up and waterfall, right?
Yeah. So the idea is just coach it with Samacenta.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is it actually good?
Well,
I don't know.
I said it was topping ladder and stuff. So
Well, I mean, you can top ladder. That doesn't mean it's consistent. To me, you have 3 restricteds that can Dynamax. And then you have an incredibly slow Pokemon without Trigger Room that you are relying on doing coaching and then doing Max Quakes to boost. I mean, it just takes a parting shot and then your entire strategy's over. That's basically...
Leno can also Dynamax or Gastrodon. I think this team is more like setting up and just stacking your setups that even if you get intimidated that or like parting shot that it doesn't really matter.
Is it still leftovers, I would assume?
I have no idea actually.
It's probably still
No,
leftovers.
I don't think the team
you
was
just don't
public.
die, but because like you get 3 Max Quakes off, and I don't know, a couple of bulk ups, and then you 1 or 2 bulk ups and 1 or 2 coaching, and then basically you should be able to just not be intimidated and never take a KO. So I get the premise, but it just sounds gimmicky. It sounds like something you do in ladder to troll people.
I mean, no, I don't think you can say it's not like a troll team because all mons in this format are pretty legit, but it's probably more niche for best of 1 than best of 3. I can agree on that.
Sure, bad stake on this one is that Gahaku's just insane.
I mean,
So I'll take that. I'll take that as well.
I mean, it's Terran is also an amazing player, so I don't think that's the issue here.
I mean, it does feel like a bad matchup, to be honest. Like, if you manage.
Yeah, Ice Rider loop back.
I mean, Alternatives versus Ice Rider is never fun.
Well, I mean, and Seishin against it is never fun, and Lando against it is never fun. So like.
Yeah.
Like if you put your Ice Rider in the correct position, it just wins. So I don't know. It's kind of a bad matchup. I'm not a fan of the team. Like I kind of get the premise. It's just kind of weird to me. But it seems like it's doing well in ladder. It's just kind of a weird team. But okay, very good. Here's another stack. There were a few that came up. I've seen a few Driflims too. This was Borgie's first loss, by the way. So he's 3-1. So good, very good. Let's go to the next one. The only team that won this week. And in fairness, a lot of these games were 2-1, so this set could have gone in a very different direction.
Yeah, what I will say about this was a super close week. There were in a lot of sets there was also RNG involved, but it could have been like we won 6-2, but the Thunders could have also won like 6-2 against us. This was way more close than it looks like. Definitely our toughest week so far. And yeah, it was just super tight because I think we got up 4-0 at some point. But then I think it went to 4-2, or I don't even know what happened after that. But I do know that it was super close. Like I've watched all the sets, and it was some matches could have gone like one turn decided everything.
So an interesting thing to note on this one: Warhyung, My Stars, and Mechanics are all undefeated, 4-0, 3-0, 3-0, and I believe Danetti's 3-1. So
That's right. I think Javier is also. I think he's 2-1.
okay,
I think same for Ryan. So Hype is I think
think so.
0-3 now,
I think so.
and
Is on 3.
yeah, and New is 1-1 at the moment.
So I love you, my friend. We need to change formats for you, man. You're not enjoying this format too much, I think.
Oh no, that's not it. That's not it.
No.
No, the format is fine for him.
I have a question for if Ryan's still here. I don't know if he is. What's the deal with that Mandibus? Like I like Mandibus in formats like this. It's very bulky, hard to take down. I don't know that this was necessarily the greatest matchup for it, but I don't know. If you're still around, feel free to drop a comment on what was the logic on the Mandibus, because I'm quite intrigued. I've used it in other formats, and I feel like it has so much potential, and no one ever explores it. So, interesting bring from your end.
I think before this format it was absolutely garbage, but I think in this format, I don't really know what it does, but Ryan played it and he has done pretty well with it in general.
I think it's
think,
decent
so,
in
like-
non-max formats. So I used it in Series 10, and in the World Cup last year, that was Series 10. One of the guys in my team that plays like super bulky trick room teams typically. He brought it in a game, and he ended up going. I can't remember. I think it was a P2. It was a P2 against the Mandibus, and they were just going for like ruse recover, ruse recover, ruse recover, and he ended up winning. So it was like a super slow match. Went to like all games went to timer. So Mandibus is a mon that just shouldn't die if you play correctly. It's basically what it does. It's like foul play, snarl, roost, and like one other thing, whatever it is.
Go wins.
Oh, Tailwind, yeah, and Tailwind, exactly. So it's like, yeah. Okay, very cool. Massa brought a Hydreigon this week, which was interesting, because then he had a Cresselia, but then there was a Sylveon. There was Rain and a Ferrothorn, but no Swift Swimmer. It was an interesting matchup. Tailwind missed a seed, yeah, exactly. It's basically just super bulky. Okay, a couple of really cool teams here. I mean, I really want to call out Warhyung here. Like he's one of the 2 undefeated players right now.
Yes,
Oh,
he
well,
is
one of the 2
on.
4-0 players. I mean,
Yeah, one of the 2 4-0 players. I think he is above Pestler because Warrior, like Suwon, has 1 game loss less.
I think so.
But yeah,
I think he's lost 2 games in 4 weeks.
In 4 weeks, that's correct.
And one was this week, so props to Daniele on that one, because he's literally just not taking games down.
No, I have to be completely honest here. I know Subun got really lucky in a set against Daniela. Like,
Okay.
I watched a stream match back. Daniela was playing well, and I think without the Hex, if I'm just completely honest, I think Subun would have lost it.
Anything to add here, Britta?
Not really. I feel like Sven has more expertise as he watched all the matches and it's his team. So
Yeah.
I was just gonna leave it to him anyways.
I do think one thing I want to say. I think Buzzwole. I don't know if any other teams have used it so far, but on our team, every time we brought Buzzwole, it has won. I think.
Really? Interesting.
I think so. Yeah.
Very interesting. Hot take.
All right, so we're on to
Another
my team
time-
now.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just start of how it started, like chronologically. We had some interesting matches to begin with. It was like 3 matches where I think Colossus would say we were lucky. We had some RNG on our side, and then it came to the Sturdy playing, and then suddenly we were losing the game 1 and we were about to play game 2, and Sturdy's Scald from Kyogre burnt the Groudon so that he lived the Max Quake, and then could Scald next turn again, so he won game 2 and got game 3 again.
Oh.
And then it's the reverse sweep started for us, so we got back after they were.
I think
Yeah.
you were down 1-3 at one point.
Yeah, we were down very far, and then Sturdy won that game, and we just turned it around.
Very cool.
Um,
Very cool.
yeah,
One of the interesting things to me is Popopo with the Mienshao. I've seen very few teams use it. I will say most of them effectively. I think Ray was the other one that was bringing Mienshao for a bit. I feel like in this format, I think it can work. I believe you can EV it to one shot instant too with close combat and stuff like that. So I think it's an interesting one to bring. We were down 0-3 and then we got 3-3. Nice.
yeah. So the cool part about Mienshao is not only do you get fake out, but you also get feint. And now that protects are starting to become a thing now.
Too.
An inner focus.
Yeah,
It's
It's-
one of the
it's- it's able
fastest
to
fake
one-shot
out
most
users
insta-
in the game. So, and
and
also
I'd say the
it's
fastest
wider,
relevant
too.
one.
So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was used a lot in Series 10 on Caloric Shadow teams.
yeah, in series,
especially in the
series
beginning.
10, it was like a staple of Kelly Shadow teams. Because and I think the main reason was to deal with Ensign. Something very interesting to call out here is a Canary's team.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
PZ. I don't know about you guys, but I am looking forward to normal Terra adaptability PZ tri attack.
Helping hand boosted. Yeah,
I'd
that's-
prefer if PZ was not in the game, to say it like that.
I'm gonna
just
tell you right
promote,
now,
uh,
that thing's gonna be good. It's gonna hit hard.
it's gonna
gonna
one-shot
be real
everything, even if you resist.
Yeah.
Do explain me, why Corrigan Z?
Sorry, what was that?
Tell me, why Corrigan Z, Friday?
Oh.
Like, why did they bring it?
The
this
thing
year?
is,
Yeah, like
I
PZ.
have not really looked into it. Canary was convinced it was a good team, and you can see the base idea with BZ and Dracoish and Regeliki is super hyper offense.
Yeah, it's just a hyper
And
offense.
it's not really much
tailwind.
more else to say. It's just damage, pure damage. It seemed to work out.
There was also no
Yeah.
intimidate on Rap's team, so basically Dracovish like runs free as long as it doesn't hit Among Us.
Yeah.
Like if it hits anything but Among Us, it's like running free, and then you have. I mean, I don't know if PC was like Ice Beam or what, but I mean, there's definitely ways to deal with it.
Ally switch.
You had triple axle. You have heat wave. So there were definitely ways to deal with it.
The thing is, you have Dracovish, Serena, and Regelki, and in that way, there's just no way to stop it. The only way is Dracovish, but you can like triple axle plus Fuse Ren, and it's out.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, this is a really bad
So-
MU for Rep. In fairness,
Yeah, he had no answer for just hyper offense team.
absolutely. Any final comments on your end on this? I think the last thing that caught my attention was 2 Garchomps. Not sure if, what was the logic
Yeah,
there, but
Garchomp is just a mon that is popping up now. One of the better ground types. I feel like it just fits the meta. I think it's a good mon.
I am a fan of Garchomp in the format. It's fast. It hits hard. I think you can set it up in such a way to like make it work. So
Also,
And
there's
also
less
just-
of Aganadels, so there's just a better. There's more. You're more free to use it now, and there's no fast Dragon type except maybe sometimes Dragonite. No, not Dragonite, but
Dragapult.
Dragapult and Naganadel. You're just more free to use it. I feel.
Yeah, and also like your ice weakness is covered very well, even though you have 3 weaknesses, you also have 3 resists with Shifu, Entei, and Nihilego. I do think it was kind of a rough matchup though, if you look at what XLBD brought with like Tailwind Mamoswine with Shifu Serena. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty rough.
And that was a difficult one. I
I
remember.
mean, Mamoswine hits
Yeah.
like 5 things in that. It actually hits everything except
Yeah, everything but Urshifu.
right.
Yeah.
So
And then he
Mamoswine was
had
really
that
strong
therefore he
into
had
this
literally
matchup, right?
Aleki.
You have Tailwind. You had a like this was a rough MU. I mean, also with the Torn, you can hit Rillaboom. Like you had a lot of. I mean, I would say that I would bet that the Mamoswine was trained faster than the Rillaboom. So I don't know what the item was, but if you have like a Choice Band or a Life Orb, you can potentially pick it up with an Ice Shard.
Could be
It's
anything.
usually
'cause
Focus
basi-
Sash.
Yeah, because I think on this team you could say you have 4 mons that want a focus sash, like Aleki, Torn, Memo, and Urshifu.
Yep.
I do think like Choice Band Urshifu is pretty likely on this team.
Yeah.
If you have
because of the
Tailwind.
Yeah. Okay, very cool. Now let's hop on the records here. Only 2 4-0s at this time. However, I expanded the list from last week because we have 3 players that are 3-0, and Gahaku and Silane, if I'm pronouncing this right, are still 4-1. Warhyang is 8-2. We have a couple of people that are 8-3, 9-3. My Stars has lost a game on every set they've played. So I'm not gonna say that they are not quite in the race, but they're still 3-0. I'm gonna say that the most impressive of everyone in the list, I'm gonna call that Mechanics, a 3K pick on Sven's team. There's 3 Lunalas in this. I mean, Mechanics, 3K, they're 3-0. I mean, to me, they're the best value pick in the league. Like, if League ends today, best value pick in the league. He could not play anymore. He's probably still the best value in the league, so definitely one.
I can say a few things about Nate AK Mechanics. I don't think he should have been a 3 pick in my opinion, because he has a lot of VGC experience in the past. He has been praised, I bet, by a lot of managers. Like, they actually wanted to go after him, but they just didn't. And like, he hadn't played in like 2.5 years.
Oh,
and then he showed up. So I think that's why he went for 3K. But he is a super good player, and he should not have been at 3K in my opinion.
Clearly, the stats agree with you. So, Nostalgia's Great has a comment here that there was no way to pick up Rillaboom with that shirt. Interesting. I thought maybe with a choice band you could. I was worried about that not playing for a long time. Yeah, I mean that's perfectly understandable. Might be inactive and quiet. Yeah, I mean when you guys are drafting, you're obviously and you shared a little bit of your game plan with me before you guys drafted. Obviously, there's certain risks like that you need to make a call on whether you want to take it. I believe you talked to them before the draft, right? And just to kind of see if, like, the level of commitment. I remember you telling me you were going to reach out to a few players. I don't know if that was one of them, but it's always interesting, that balance of the newer players and the really old players that haven't played in a while. So I would say these are the general front runners for the league MVP. Do you guys have any preliminary picks on that?
I think it's gonna be I think either of the 7 players can still reach MVP. Like let's say both Pastor and Subung lose now, and like My Stars wins and Gahaku wins, like then they're in the driving position. And everything can change. Like there's still 2 weeks of play. I do think if Pastor and Subung win their next week, they are definitely the people you should look out for to get the MVP.
Very cool.
I'd say Pastor and Gahaku. Gahaku would just keep on playing, and in Series 13 there are not many players better, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
It's likely Gahaku would just keep on playing there.
I do think in the match he lost once against Audi, and Gahaku had a super tough matchup, and then in the end he actually lost because of some bad RNG, if I recall it correct. Not 100% sure.
Very interesting. So they did a cal check for us here. So max damage on Rillaboom is 85% with a choice band. Wow, I would have thought that picked up. Good check there. I actually thought that would have been enough to pick up. I guess Rillaboom's really defensively bulky, so that's why.
Yeah, it's very bulky mon.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's do predictions for this week.
Whoa.
Let's do each one. Who do you predict to win? And what is the match to watch?
Well, it's fun because me and Brad A's teams are playing each other this week, and I'm not gonna comment because I'll just curse us. Because I curse everyone, literally. Borgie, Borgie was 3-0 last week.
Yeah, we can start at the beginning.
One.
I think you missed every prediction of last week, by the way, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's not true. Because in the end, no, you are true. Because I predicted both Heat to win and Strikers to win. And Borgie to win. Borgie lost his match. Strikers were down 0-3 at one point. Heat was down 1-3 at one point.
So if you guys lost or tied, like if you lost as a player and your team tied, you can blame Sven. That was him.
It's true.
I just don't know how you can be so good at drafting but so horribly bad at predicting. That's impressive.
Isn't it true that in the first week when I did predictions of your team, I got 8 of them wrong?
Yeah,
I got them all
you
wrong.
got all
Yeah.
of them wrong, the opposite.
That's also an achievement.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. Araquanids versus Celtics. Do the Celtics take their first win this week?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, they take the win. What's your match to watch here?
Carl Schultz versus Oliver, for sure.
What was that? Sorry?
Carl Schultz versus Oliver.
False shots. Okay, very good. Very good.
I have to agree on that one. No, I can't. I think that's definitely the standout matchup this week. I think
I mean,
Taboo
it's a
versus
recorded
Skate
match
also-
too, so we'll be able to watch that. That's gonna be cool. Beth
Yeah.
says that she's excited for KD versus Tehran. So very cool.
Oh.
Nostalgia's great. BTC feature is so bright. If you're that bad at 50-50s, might want to keep
That
as
was
a
a good
manager.
one.
Okay. I will say you something. I am horrible at predictions 50-50s in the game. It's pretty well for me. It's pretty well. It's pretty well.
Just use accurate moves and don't do coin flips, and you'll
Yeah.
be fine.
So
Don't do coins. I'll just make sure I do
versus-
that.
Strikers versus Colossals. Do the Colossals get the upset here?
No, strikers win.
Strikers win. Okay. Match to watch.
Klefki versus Tiny.
Very cool. Brennan?
Ray versus Sensabar is also a very good one.
I'd say Angelo versus Zelda maybe.
Angelo versus Zelda.
And about Colossals, I think if they keep their heads up, they might get away with a shocker.
Very cool. Hannah versus Joe is kind of a cool match. I think this week has very good matchups. Ray versus Sensabar, Angelo versus Zelda. Diney versus Klefki, Ardcar. These are good matches. This is a good matchup. I'm very much looking forward to this two. What do you guys think here on this one?
I think, to be honest, we're not going to play any matches, and we just quit.
You're just gonna quit.
We just quit. Yeah.
No one
Well-
has played yet, right?
No.
No.
I think our first match is tomorrow our time, so GMT +2 at 8 p.m.
Okay.
My Stars is playing.
Monroy.
Yeah, my Stars is playing then. This is Monroy. Yeah. I can say a match to watch, but I'm not gonna make any predictions here.
Sure.
I think
Okay.
Hobbit versus Pengi is an insane match, and also I think WJ Bax versus Jamie Keen is a good one.
I'm personally looking forward to Neil versus Sturdy. I think that's a
Yeah.
funny one. And it's going to be streamed too. So there
Yeah.
are two very creative team builders against each other in Series 13. It can
Yeah.
only be fun.
Let's hope Neil doesn't oversleep.
Right. So I missed a comment from before. So Alex says that KD versus Tehran. That says WJ Bags versus Keen, Pengy versus Hobbit. Brett, make a prediction.
do it,
People
Penny.
are calling for it.
No,
Call
we're not
it.
gonna do it.
Who's winning the
No,
week?
I'm not
Call
doing it.
No bias.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Like I said, we are not playing and nobody is winning. We're both gonna take a L.
They're tying. They're both tying. My match to watch on this one's Mr. Penguin. I know he's had to deal with life past few weeks, so he's back. So I'm looking forward to watching the recording of that one, just because I know that he's been back and forth. So, and
No bet. I will not do a final score. I won't. I refuse to say anything about.
Bad. Who
I
do
say
you
we
think
win.
wins on this one?
Make them lose.
Who do you think gets the win? Dream Eaters versus Heat. Tell us while we go to the next one.
Well, no, actually, Nader. How about you make the prediction?
Why you gotta be like that, man?
I mean, we are both the
Yeah, I
managers
mean, we
of the teams.
can't really say anything. I can say I disagree, but
here's a problem. Like I'm still a helper on your team, so I'm like still like I know the general prep
Oh, yeah.
for everybody. I know what all the teams are. So it's
Actually,
kinda,
don't say anything. You curses. I need. Okay. I need someone else's opinion in chat
That
who is not
says 4 and
either
4.
connected to
Right.
both teams. That says 4 and 4.
Yeah, that's kind of part of my problem is like I know everyone's prep, I know what everyone's bringing, etc. So it's kind of hard for me to like make a call just knowing like the work that people are putting in. Nostalgia says the Heat to
Ready?
win.
You're cursed.
it will win. It's fine.
So we have a tie. We have a tie,
Oh,
and we
he
have
said
a Heat
it.
to
He
win.
said it.
No one's
He
Yeah, I
said
said
picking.
it will win.
No one's picking
He
the
made
top
it.
seed. So.
Yeah.
What about the last one? Do the Coppers get their first win?
Nope.
Oh.
Okay.
No, okay, so I think Thunders are one of the best teams. They've been
Yep. Agree. 100%.
slightly underperforming too. I think they'll just run away with the
they've been unlucky so far as well.
this week.
Very cool.
Like I said, Thunders was our toughest opponent so far.
Okay, very good. Does Pasder lose their undefeated streak this week?
Okay, Pastor is gonna lose.
Hot take.
If I say he wins, I'm gonna curse him. So I can't. I don't want him. I don't want to curse him. So Pastor.
I don't
is
know.
gonna lose.
I feel like it's tough to say without seeing the matchups. That's why I never do predictions. But I think he will keep on playing well and possibly winning. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Match to watch here?
Mirai versus Lily.
Okay. Ready?
I'd say the Pastor versus Song Didi.
Okay. To me, I mean, Chris Gahaku is going to be a match that, like, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it's recorded. That's going to be a really good match. Really, really, really good match. I'm definitely going to look out for the recording on that one. But other than that, I believe we are done with the content for today. We have a number of matches from the previous weeks that are on the YouTube channel that you should be able to watch if you want to go back. We have all the reviews from every week as well. If you want to watch previous week and watch the Sven curse people, all of those are good. So let us know what you think. We'll be posting this on YouTube. And just hit me up if you want to participate in one of this. I'm more than happy to, set it up. Well, the goal is typically to do these on Mondays, but this week was just kind of logistically challenging. So thanks for watching. We're gonna raid Big Slim. There's not a whole lot of people playing BGC, as you can imagine. So we'll go hang out with him. Thank you everyone so much for watching. And thanks, Breda and Sven, for joining today. Have a good one, guys. Cheers. Okay, it's gone.
Yeah, it's over.
Is it? It's
Yeah.
over.
Thanks for joining, guys.
I did not expect Brady to join.